American employers added a surprisingly strong 178,000 new jobs last month. More at townhall.com.
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
Dang, I forgot the wakeboard. How am I supposed to enjoy myself without my favorite water activity? I mean, sure, we could still go tubing, fishing, or even just relax on a floaty, but without the wakeboard, what's the point?
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
Sight and Sound Films presents
Benjamin Franklin.
Reverend Whitfield?
A match made in heaven.
Or just a deal made in a print shop?
Two voices.
My friends, do you want to be free?
One idea.
The Constitution needs to speak to the heart of these people.
A new nation.
You are the lightning bolt, George. I am just the lightning rod. And who is the source, Ben?
A Great Awakening. In theaters this Easter. agreatawakening.com for details. Rated PG-13.
United Airlines is raising checked bag fees as higher fuel costs ripple through the airline industry. Bob Agnew reports.
Most travelers flying United within the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, as well as Latin America, will now pay $45 for their first checked bag and $55 for a second. That's $10 more than before the war. United says it is their first baggage fee increase in 2 years. JetBlue also raised its fees this week. Fuel typically makes up about a quarter of airline expenses, and analysts expect more carriers to pass those costs on to travelers. Bob Agnew reporting.
The Trump administration is rejoining two agencies that were split up in the aftermath of the 2010 Gulf oil spill. The new Marine Minerals Administration will bring together the functions of the current Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
Hi, y'all. It's Kathy from Baker Mortgage. You know, with all the scary stuff we've been through, it's still true that timing is everything, and the time to buy is now. But don't go looking without a solid pre-approval in hand. And this includes an application and a detailed discussion about property taxes. If you didn't have the talk, about property taxes, you really don't know what you're pre-approved for. That should make you wonder what else they may have left out. Mortgages are personal. Let's face it, we're dealing with your home and your money, and it doesn't get much more personal than that. When it's the largest transaction that most people will ever be involved in, imagine having someone on your side looking out after you. What a concept. We audit your closing statement to make sure you're not paying for things that you're not supposed to. Do you think your big bank's going to do that? Probably not. For all of your mortgage needs, call us at Baker Mortgage. I promise you'll be glad you did. We're at 281-313-MOVE or go directly to bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. License number 263213.
For over 100 years, the American Legion has served veterans in our community with a focus on 4 pillars: veterans and rehabilitation, Americanism, national security, and children and youth. All veterans who have served honorably, spouses of veterans, and sons of veterans may join a local post family. The 22nd District Department of Texas covers the Houston area with 13 Legion posts and auxiliary units from Katy through the South Houston region. Each post has a service officer to help veterans get needed services from the VA, assistance with job placement resources, family issues, PTSD, and more. We are known for our honor guard and burial honors, flag retirements, scholarship programs with the Oratorical Contest, American Legion Baseball, Boys and Girls State, Junior Sports Shooting Program, Wreaths Across America, and many community events for the family. If you are a veteran or related to a veteran, we encourage you to become a member of the American Legion today. For more information, please visit LegionDist22.com. We are Legion.
A breast cancer diagnosis can turn your world upside down, but your Houston Methodist team assures you they'll use the latest cancer research and technologies, collaborating to treat and remove the tumor and reconstruct your breasts, restoring symmetry, sensation, and your sense of self. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it for you. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Where should I begin?
Can we talk about this?
Say, what are you trying to say?
Beyond the usual controversial talk.
Oh, yeah. Over there.
1, 2, cha-cha-cha. 1, 2,
cha-cha-cha.
Prepare yourself for Craig.
Okay.
Preparing a mighty new spectacle here.
Articulate, stimulating, hit you right in the... there you go.
We start becoming a team right now.
This is the Craig Collins Show.
Lord Jesus, oh God, no.
Start talking. Talk fast.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Now your host,
He's a good man.
Craig.
That's right. It is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. Thrilled to be with you. Thank you to Gummy Gary for everything he did today. Awesome job. He even booked a guest that we'll be talking to at 6:30 for this show. We hope. We talked to her very briefly on the golf course. A very cool veteran, a Marine that I think served 30-plus years, that saw multiple combat tours and wound up being awarded 2 Purple Hearts. We're also going to hear from somebody out of Illinois, a buddy of mine. His name is M.T. Reagan, also a veteran, served a combat tour in the Navy. And he was one of the people that helped inspire the Veteran Voices segment that I do every Friday at 6:30 here on KSEV and KGBC, because I did the segment some other places that I used to work. He's one of a couple veterans. Eric Thurman, another Navy guy and a CB, was the name of another person who helped inspire it. A few people really made it the thing that it is now, and I'm grateful to them, and I wanted to keep it going, and so we should have some fun and talk to some veterans a little bit later on. Before any of that, though, we got to get to some of the news of the day. And I don't want to keep mentioning this, and yet I do keep mentioning it. I'm just sort of happy that I'm on 2 radio stations at the same time. I'm on this one and another one here in town because of a nationally syndicated radio show that I help fill in on. That's the Dana Show. I'm not recommending you switch over and listen to the other station where I also am. You can listen a bunch of places. Dana's podcast is already up, the entire thing available wherever you get your podcasts. But I'd prefer you listen to this show here, and then eventually maybe go check some of that stuff out. And I'm going to say it again, and I think I'm starting to make it fairly obvious, but I'm not officially announcing anything. At some point in the near future, there will be an announcement about the radio home for Dana Lash in Houston, Texas. It'll be a different home than the current home it's at. That's all I'm saying. But that will be something that we announce someone announces at some point in the near future. All right, let's play some things. This is nuts. And I kind of thought this wasn't the biggest, most valuable story out there. But when you follow the Amigos, they cover all the things that are of the biggest and, most talked about, most important topics. So I get the opportunity to do something a little bit more off the beaten path as part of the political discussion. This is the First Lady of California, the wife of Gavin Newsom. She is doing an interview, and she just says crazy things about how she raises her sons. And what's insane about this to me, or what's significant about this, exactly the type of person who feels proud that she's raising her sons by giving them Barbies and doing other kind of weird things. But I want to play some of this audio because I love how proud she is and how amazed the whole room seems to be, and how if you actually listen to what she's saying, it's probably terrible for her sons. At the very least, they seem to be acting like boys regardless of how she's treating them. But here, I want to play a little of this.
Our boys' dolls, even if they tear the head off, I've given them dolls to learn that care and caregiving is not just an activity that's reserved for women, but that it's also an activity that is a responsibility of men. What I've done with both my daughters and my sons is if I'm reading a book and the protagonist is a male, I just change the he to a she. And it just normalizes for my sons in particular. I don't even just do it for my girls. I do it for my sons because I want them to see that women can be the center of a story.
There's stories that women are the center of. Like, the first thing that I don't understand when people say this all the time, this like preachy attitude of, I have to fix society so that my sons know they're not as important as society thinks they are, and my daughters know they're more important than society would ever tell them. There's a bunch of stories. Like, read a Black Widow comic book if you want to read something that has a female heroine. She's not the only one. There are several out there in the world of comics and Marvel and whatnot. But I'm so annoyed by that. And my favorite part, though, is at the beginning when she says she gives dolls to her kids, especially to her sons, even if they rip the heads off. I had 2 older sisters growing up, so I was the first boy. And I remember
that there were times where they'd play with the Barbie dolls, and I'd be annoyed by that. Like, I thought that was stupid. And so I'd go, and they'd ask me to play, or somehow I'd be involved, and I would cut off the hair of the Barbie doll or something. Or I'd have the guy, whether it was Ken or G.I. Joe, kick them. Like, that's how I played with Barbies. I would kick their Barbies, and they'd yell at me and get mad. But that's a boy not wanting to play the thing that they're asking me to play and wanting to do something else. Her sons are showing her they don't want dolls when they rip the head off. And she doesn't care. She's like, screw it. I got to raise these kids to be as, female as possible, even as men. It's uniquely weird. And then there's one other thing I'll say, and I kind of like a better example for this than this one. Let's go ahead and pull the different example. So they asked the astronauts, and then specifically they asked the black male astronaut who's a pilot, what he thought about making history. And I played the audio yesterday of the news organization, I think it was Sky News in Australia, that was bragging about the diversity of this crew for Artemis 2 and saying how it was all white guys the first time, so apparently they don't care about that comparatively. And I don't like the beginning of the answer from the NASA guy, but he is giving a political, a woke, a whatever response to a question. I do like the second part of the answer he gives, so I do want to play it. The question is, how do you feel being a historical figure now that you're the first black astronaut to fly toward the moon? They don't actually get to land on the moon. And again, as I said, don't like part of it, really love part of this answer. Here we go.
It is a big question, and I want to highlight, I guess, maybe one facet of this is the tension, I call it. I live in this, this dichotomy between happiness that a young woman can look at Christina and just physicalize her passion or her interest, or even if it's not something she wants to do, she can just be like, girl power, and that's awesome. And that young brown boys and girls can look at me and go, hey, he looks like me and he's doing what? And that's great. I love that. But I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these things, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity, not black history, not women's history, but that it becomes human history.
Yeah, the thing is, what's funny about what he said there, it is human history. This is. When I see these astronauts, and I'm not trying to virtue signal or something here, I'm being honest, I just see people, American people, that we're firing into space that are going to go say hi to the moon, and as the president said, go deeper into space than any flight has ever gone before. Not land on the moon, that's for a later date, but do a thing that's going to make us all proud. American exceptionalism is on display in our society. I don't care who's on the plane or who's on the rocket or any of this stuff. I just care that they're American, and I'm proud of that. And this is something I said when I was filling in on the Dana Show today, and I'll tell you again here. And it's weird because it's my own life that is and I don't mean to overly focus on me. A lot of radio hosts that make that mistake. They talk too much about themselves. You don't care about all of it. But this hopefully is an example that's true for a lot of people. Growing up, I looked up to a lot of black guys. I didn't do it on purpose. Michael Jordan was my favorite basketball player. That's a black man. Tiger Woods was my favorite golfer, black guy, which is unique too, by the way, because you have to be my generation for your favorite golfer to be a black guy. By and large, that's a sport that the best players have been white for whatever reason. But it just so happens that I grew up when the best golfer in the world was also a black guy. But like across the board, my favorite athletes, by and large, were not the same color skin that I am. And I didn't care. My favorite baseball player, I liked Don Mattingly when I was a real little kid, but I really liked Tino Martinez as the first baseman who replaced him on the New York Yankees, when a lot of people hated him just because he came in after Don Mattingly and others. And you know what's funny about that to me is I didn't really think about Tino Martinez being a Hispanic guy. Like, it didn't matter to me. He's a Yankee, and he was playing the sport. Derek Jeter is biracial, another one of my favorite athletes, and Mariano Rivera, black guy. So it's so funny when people tell me or tell society that you need someone to look like you to be able to see yourself doing something, because that sounds like that's not necessarily a thing that I and a lot of people experience in real life. That growing up, it didn't matter to me what you looked like. It mattered to me how good you were at stuff. And if you were really good at stuff, I wanted to be like you. whoever you were. And I thought that I could be like you because one of the things they taught my generation probably way too much is that, you can be anything you want to be. And a whole lot of us, it didn't work out the way you wanted. I'm not in the NBA right now, even though they told me I could be, because they probably babied us a little too much. Everybody gotten a trophy and an award when he shouldn't have got one, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think that a lot more people grew up irrelevant to who you're looking at. Now, granted, I'll tell you as I say all this, my mother was texting the national radio show that I was filling in on. It's a real story. I didn't tell the national audience this, but I'll tell you this. My mom was texting and saying, maybe for women it's different. Maybe girls, little girls, need to see adult women doing some things to think that they can one day grow up and be that. Maybe that's true. I'm not a girl. I don't know. My mom said maybe that's true for her. Maybe that's true for a lot of people. So I'm not against having someone be celebrated because they seem to represent something we haven't seen a whole lot. But I love the idea from the black astronaut where he says, hopefully, eventually we get past that point and we teach everybody that anyone can be whatever they want to be. Honesty with your own show. Thanks, Ma. Yes, I figured I'd be honest with my own show. But nonetheless, I believe that that's the better lesson to teach everybody, that it doesn't matter what anybody looks like. We are a meritocracy. You can succeed by doing hard work, by pushing yourself. I don't know if you'll succeed on exactly the path you want to go on. There are some other things that need to be involved in order for you to get exactly what you want. Like for me, example, not tall enough, not big enough, not fast enough, not a lot of things enough to be in the NBA. So even though I wanted that pretty bad as a little kid, it didn't work out. I couldn't be that. But I figured out something else that I could do that I'm happy to do. And I think anybody that puts in hard work can figure out something like it. They can find something that makes sense for them. So I did really like that, again, as far as the message that seemed to be told to a lot of people by that astronaut when he says, it doesn't matter, or hopefully in the very near future it won't matter what the color of my skin is. All right, I want to play one other clip, and then we'll take a break. Like I said, at some point we're actually going to be bringing on a guest and doing our Veteran Voices segment that we do every Friday at 6:30. The point of that is to surrender. I don't know why I say it that way because it's not that. But give the airwaves to veterans for half an hour for them to talk about whatever they want. I don't care. If you're a vet or if you're connected to a veteran organization and you want to promote it, every Friday at 6:30, you have an opportunity to reach out to me and be a part of this station and this show. Craig at KSEVradio.com is my email. Craig at KSEVradio.com. Go ahead and send me a message there. Tell me who you are, what you want to do, and we'll figure it out. We are hoping that a woman that we met on the golf course, Gummy Gary and I, will be calling in at 6:30 today in about 10 minutes to be a part of this segment. She won 2 Purple Hearts. She was awarded 2 Purple Hearts for combat tours she did during her 30-plus year career in the Marines. So she is one of 2 guests I think we'll be having on in about 10 minutes. All right, the last thing I want to play, this is Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. And I still love that. I love that President Trump changed it to Secretary of War. I actually said this on the other show I did earlier today. That's the job I want. I don't want to be a politician. I've never had any desire to be a politician. But the minute they created the Secretary of War gig, and it wasn't called the Secretary of Defense anymore, if ever I were to want a job in politics, that would be the one. That would be a cool title to have on the business card. Here you go. I'm the Secretary of War. But Hegseth changed a rule that made absolutely no sense, and it was so odd, and he put up like a 2-minute video talking about this. Essentially, he's allowing his servicemen and women who work for him at the Department of War to carry a gun because there were a lot of places that were becoming gun-free zones, and that makes absolutely no sense. If you're someone who's as well-trained as the military men and women that he works with, why not allow them to carry a gun? Here's a little bit of Hegseth saying that he changed a very stupid rule.
Our great republic was founded on a simple yet bold idea. Our rights as citizens are not granted to us by government, but instead by God.
Correct.
250 years ago, the Revolutionary War was fought to secure our God-given rights. The Second Amendment to our Constitution enshrines the right of all citizens to carry weapons to protect themselves, their families, and their fellow countrymen. The War Department's uniformed service members are trained at the highest and unwavering standards. These warfighters, entrusted with the safety of our nation, are no less entitled to exercise their God-given right to keep and bear arms than any other American. Our warfighters defend the right of others to carry. They should be able to carry themselves.
Duh.
Recent events like what happened at Fort Stewart, Holloman Air Force Base, or Pensacola Naval Air Station have made clear that some threats are closer to home than we would like.
Sadly, yes.
In these instances, minutes are a lifetime, and our service members have the courage and training to make those precious short minutes count. Before today, it was virtually impossible. Most people probably don't know this. It was virtually impossible for War Department personnel to get permission to carry and store their own personal weapons aligned with the state laws where we operate our installations.
Insane.
I mean, effectively, our bases across the country were gun-free zones. Unless you're training, or unless you are a military policeman, you couldn't carry, you couldn't bring your own firearm for your own personal protection onto post. Well, that's no longer.
Thank God.
The memo I'm signing today directs installation commanders to allow requests for personal protection.
Yeah, I'll stop it there. It's another 30 seconds. But thank you. This is a very obvious thing, a very easy thing. I think something that a lot of people here in Texas could understand because there's no reason not to do this. And actually, I'll go a step further. I was talking to Gummy Gary about this last week, and I believe it wholeheartedly. Whenever you see a bad thing happen, especially in like a school, I think the right solution is veterans plus guns. I think that soft targets need to be hard targets. And I think the best human beings to protect us in our society are the ones we ask to protect our country. So I think the best way to solve any school shooting problem throughout the country for all time moving forward, get a couple veterans, put them outside the doors to the school, give them guns. And then I'm not going anywhere near that place if I'm a piece of crap bad guy who wants to hurt people, especially children, because there's veterans sitting there that have been trained and know what they would need to do if someone came trying to hurt somebody. So I don't get that. We got a lot of veterans that would like a gig, and I think a lot of veterans that would actually prefer a gig like that, protecting a school every day. So I think that would be an incredible decision, and I don't know why we don't make it. But all right, we'll take a break. Like I said, we're hoping to get a phone call from a veteran, and then we're actually going to bring a second vet that I know onto this show as well, so they can kind of connect with each other. It's called a vet check-in. But we're going to see if the person we met on the golf course, 30-plus years in the Marines and 2 Purple Hearts, does call the station. And then if not, we'll have MT Reagan on for sure. But that's coming out of a bit. This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. Veteran voices coming up in about 5 minutes.
You know, where we go in life matters, and what we do matters. And we know that taking the wrong road won't produce the best outcomes. Hi, I'm Kathy with Baker Mortgage, and we want you to take the right path when it comes to your mortgage. You know, we live in a world of information overload, but always consider the source. And these are not generally going to be from your big bank or a random offer that comes across your screen. Remember, you're always going to get a better deal on one that you go looking for than one that comes looking for you. You need to deal with somebody who gives a you-know-what, whether or not you're happy in the end. At Baker Mortgage, we do it right. We haven't been around for 68 years because we're lucky. We don't sell CDs, insurance, or anything else. We just provide a great mortgage experience. Isn't that what you're looking for? Call us at Baker Mortgage. I promise you'll be glad you did. We're at 281-313-MOVE or go directly to bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. License number 263213.
Match is back here in the Mac Z-Cliner. I'm recovering from surgery thanks in large part to this miracle chair, the Mac Z-Cliner. You can sit in it, you can recline in it, you can watch TV in it, you can eat in it, you can sleep in it. It goes to zero gravity position. The Mac Z-Cliner helped me recover. It also has heat and massage, a place to charge your cell phone. Come out to Gallery Furniture, buy a Mac Z-Cliner before your surgery. Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, or after your surgery, Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, and you'll sit and sleep great tonight.
That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Everyone knows the BBB is the Better Business Bureau, but depending on what you need, it's the Better Plumber Bureau, the Better Auto Mechanic Bureau, the Better Accountant Bureau. That's because the BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. So think of the BBB as the better check that business out first so you don't get ripped off bureau. Be smart. Always look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. In just about a couple minutes, we are hoping to get at least one phone call from a veteran. We intend to call another veteran, too, and get them on the show. So we might take a very quick break here in just a second in order to coordinate all this. But we intend to do, and I'll just explain it one more time, Veteran Voices. This is every Friday at 6:30 for the last half hour of the Craig Collins Show. We bring on vets. We talk about whatever they want to talk about. They can tell stories about their military service. If they're connected to veteran organizations, they can promote those veteran organizations. It's anything. Next week, Jimmy X, one of the listeners to this show, is connected with me and gotten me a veteran that we're going to talk to. So I'm looking forward to that conversation next week. But we have somebody that Gummy Gary met on the golf course on Sunday. And I actually wound up also being there. So he was chatting with me about her. And he gave her the phone number. He told her to call in and to be a part of the show. So in about a minute or so, I think we're going to get a phone call from a veteran that served in the Marines for 30-plus years, was awarded 2 Purple Hearts, and still kicks butt in the golf course, which is kind of cool. So we're going to talk to her. MT Reagan is also going to jump on the show. He is a buddy of mine and one of the inspirations for this segment when I was doing radio in Illinois. Because, and this is the thing I will say, and I'll make MT talk about this a little bit when he gets on the show too. The thing that I kept hearing from vets that would make me mad was that they didn't think that enough people cared about the stuff they were doing, or they didn't have the ability to promote the things that they were involved in. They just needed to get the word out better, and the response would be better. Like they would have a more valuable version of whatever the service-minded thing they were trying to do to help society, the community, somebody. They just needed a little more exposure, and they weren't getting it. And it was crazy that they weren't getting it. So I figured if I could help in any way, I would. So as I said, like I said, we'll take a break. We'll see if we get the veteran calling in from the golf course, but we'll definitely talk to MT Reagan, a Navy veteran, a veteran who served in a conflict as well, in just a little bit. This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. Veteran Voices coming up next.
Jim Clouk here, Checker Pro Joe. Join me this Saturday at 4 p.m. on The Voice of Texas for the Checker Pro Radio Show. My guest will be the roofing experts from Sugar Roofing, sharing tips every homeowner needs to know. This Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on KSEV.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate. Our country's founding fathers drafted a document that is the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. My friends at O'Hara & Company Real Estate, we believe we're at a precipice in time where we must take back our country. We must stand up for our freedoms or lose them forever. Please don't sit idle and let it slip away. Don't let anyone force you to do something you choose not to. As JFK said, if not us, who? If not now, when? If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, give O'Hara & Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393, 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at o'harare.com. I'm Kevin O'Hara. God bless America, and God bless Texas.
Plumbing emergencies never happen at a convenient time. Usually they happen on the weekends, holidays, or while you're away on vacation. I'm Richard Sod, president of Nick's Plumbing. When you find yourself facing a plumbing emergency, call the licensed and experienced professionals at Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services. Nick's Plumbing has been Houston's first choice for all your plumbing needs since 1979. Our experts can take your most difficult plumbing issues and fix them fast, fix them right, and usually for less than you'd expect. Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services is the right choice for any plumbing job, from a leaky faucet, whole house repipe, or a complete sewer line replacement. You can count on Nick's Plumbing to do the job right. With over 40 years in business and over 150,000 satisfied customers, Nick's wants to be your plumbing company. Nick's Plumbing offers free estimates and free second opinions. Call Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services, 713-868-9907, or visit us on the web, nicksplumbing.com.
MPL 38548.
Call Nick's Plumbing today. We're on the way.
The leaders.
Senator Ted Cruz.
Thank you, Chris. It's always great to be with you.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker.
Hey, thanks for having us on. I appreciate it very much.
The newsmakers.
Folks like Peter Schweitzer.
Hey, Chris, it's great to be on with you.
Ann Coulter.
Great to be here, Chris. Thank you.
And the day's top stories with spot-on analysis.
Their first concern is not for the security and safety of the people of this country. Their first concern is protecting their left-wing behinds.
The Chris Salcedo Show on The Voice of Texas.
Money Matters with Steve Drake.
The governor of California said, look, these big high-tech companies, Silicon Valley companies, are making so much money, they need to share their profits with all of us here.
Now Mondays through Thursdays at 11 a.m. till noon, here on AM 700 KSEV and AM 1540 KGBC, the voice of Texas.
This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. I was a little worried about this. The veteran that I know, MT Reagan, that hopefully will be jumping into the show, just being candid, is actually at a funeral for a veteran who passed away. So he said he could make it around this time, but he wasn't sure exactly what the timing would be because one of the individuals who's connected with Honor Flight out in Illinois passed away. So we're hoping to hear from him in a little bit, but I know some things are kind of going crazy there. And then the other veteran, I don't even know her name. I know that Gummy Gary met her and talked to her. And I'll just continue to promote the fact that she's out there, and at some point she'll be on the show. But she is a 30-plus year Marine vet that was awarded 2 Purple Hearts and has a lot of really cool stories to tell. So hopefully in the near future, we'll get both of them on. The intention of this half hour of this show every single Friday is to be veteran voices. But it seems that the 2 veterans that we had set up for the show might not be available right now. That happens. That's what live radio is. So I am going to do some more generic sort of political commentary. If I see the phone line light up at all, and if either of those veterans are on the line, I will immediately go to that and not do any of this stuff because I'd much rather have that conversation with them. But if not, then next Friday, I'll look to have another veteran on set up by another listener, and then hopefully we'll be doing a lot more stuff out there with veterans. But all right, I do want to play some audio that I thought was really interesting. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, and Erica Kirk did an event for Turning Point USA. And 2 things were really, a big deal to me, the most impactful of the moments that happened during this event. The first one, this is a funny one, was when Caroline Leavitt was asked a question about voter fraud. And her answer was pretty great. I would think a lot of people would think this answer is pretty great. This is, you're asking me about voter fraud, why? And essentially a response as to how much is okay with you, because to me, 0 fraud is okay. But here, I'll play this audio first, and then we'll do another clip. And just for anyone tuning in that might be expecting veteran voices, it is supposed to be happening right now. We're seeing if we can get some of those guests we had planned for this week on. If not, we will get back to veteran voices next week. Here we go.
Is it worth it to risk millions of Americans from voting in order to prevent a few hundred cases of voter fraud?
First of all, thank you for the question. No need to boo. It's an honest question. I'm happy to give you an honest answer. First of all, I have not seen the data you provided, so I'd like to go check it myself and make sure that it's actually accurate in the way that you're citing it. And there is certainly much more, I believe, voter fraud in this country, and I'm sure the statistics back it up, than what you cited with one survey. And why are you okay with any voter fraud in the United States of America?
Yeah, the applause goes nuts. She's not really able to speak. Eventually she puts down the mic because, yes, that is the real question. Why is some voter fraud okay for some people? Why isn't it all terrible for everybody all the time? It makes sense to me that would always be bad. So I agree with Caroline Leavitt and with anyone that says the fight against voter fraud is a total fight. We need all of it to be removed because some is bad and a whole lot is very bad. And I also agree with Caroline Leavitt when she says that it's doubtful that the numbers he's giving, as it sounds like he's a pretty far left-leaning guy, are actually accurate, that there's minute, small amounts of it. Essentially what is happening right now in a couple places like in Georgia and in Arizona, and raiding of facilities might help us to demonstrate a whole lot more fraud out there than we previously thought, or at least than mainstream media previously thought. So I thought that would be interesting. The other moment in the Erica Kirk interview at Turning Point USA with Caroline Leavitt was when Erica was asked how much she pays attention to the amount of people who are out there doing all the conspiracy stuff about her and still accusing her of orchestrating the murdering of her husband, which is uniquely horrible. I've continued to say that. I'll say it again. But I thought Erica Kirk gave a really great answer to this question.
No, totally. There will be people that are like, did you see what they're saying about you on X? And I'm like, no, I don't have time. I don't have time. And actually, quite frankly, I really do not care. I am actually really busy right now playing Magna Tiles, and that is way more
changing diapers.
Yes, than hearing the endless onslaught that really is just
noise. Yeah, I agree with her when she says it's noise. It doesn't matter. It is an endless onslaught of conversation of all kinds of things that essentially the goal of all of this stuff is to further, for some reason, depower her and Turning Point USA. It's not actually about finding the death of the murderer for Charlie Kirk. That's something that's happening in a courtroom here in this country. It's not about that. It's much more about trying to remove the influence of an organization that Charlie Kirk obviously was incredibly important to, but now is trying to survive losing him horrifically, and trying to still have impact, influence, all those things in our society. Many people believe that Turning Point USA, along with some decisions that President Trump made leading up to the 2024 election, is the reason that he got so much support from younger voters. One of the big reasons that President Trump won the popular vote is a surprising amount of younger voters, especially young men, that voted for him compared to traditional numbers that you see from the amount of people in those demographics who vote for Democrats. So I do think that's important, and I do think the end goal here for a lot of the people influencing the influencers is really just to try to get Turning Point USA to go away. All right, we'll play another piece of audio. We'll probably at some point take another short break, and I will try one more time to get some of these veterans on the show because I really don't want to skip veteran voices. It's very important to me, as much as we can, every single Friday from 6:30 to 7 to have veterans on this show and to do a Veteran Voices segment. But I understand stuff comes up. I mean, literally one of my two guests happens to be at a funeral, or I think it's even a celebration of life for a veteran who passed away. So that's obviously more important than talking to somebody on the radio. But let's play this audio. This is Thomas Massie. He is dropping a bombshell, although it sounds like what he's trying to say, because he's Thomas Massie, is that Pam Bondi was being influenced by President Trump. But the truth in what he's saying, to me, feels quite a bit different. But I do want to play this. I thought this was really interesting audio of Massie claiming that the reason that some of the stuff with the Epstein files and other things got weird was because someone convinced Pam Bondi to protect them. And again, I think Massie is trying to hint that it's Trump. I think it's somebody on the Democratic side of the aisle, and I think this is probably a true statement. But here, this is an interview from the BBC of Massie saying that the reason Pam Bondi stumbled with some of that stuff wasn't because she herself thought these were the right decisions.
Are you confident you will see that?
I don't know if we're going to see it in this administration.
Why do you say that?
Because Pam Bondi she's been so against this. I would say from the beginning, but in the beginning, I think she earnestly was ready to release files, and then I think.
By the way, all the files have been released. Let's continue.
She wasn't in on the joke when they gave her those binders that had nothing in it. Then she found out she looked like a joke, and she shot off the angry letter to the FBI. But at some point, somebody got to Pam Bondi and said, "It's your job to cover this."
Yeah, who's the person that got to Pam Bondi? Because it sounds like Eric Swalwell was pretty close to Bondi, and some others were. Because out of all the files that have come out, the people who look the worst right now are Democrats. The amount of money they took from Epstein, the amount of Democrats who might have hung out and been around Epstein, whether that's at a place like his private island or somewhere else, the amount of people who have significant connection to the sex abuser, child abuser that was Jeffrey Epstein, by and large, are Democrats. And so I do think it's interesting that as you say that, and still society, media, a lot of places haven't really cared. There is a lot of information that's out there, and it's just sort of shocking that so many people just simply do not care about some of that stuff so far, because their goal was always just to get Trump. Trump was the only person that mattered, and when they didn't get Trump, when they failed to get Trump, that became all right, let's go ahead and move on. We don't care about this anymore, so let's go ahead and do something else. And that is sort of surreal in a way that, of course, to you and I, shouldn't make any sense, but to a lot of people out there in mainstream media was the goal all along. All right, I want to play one more clip. I got a lot of clips. I can keep going. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche declared mission accomplished as far as the Epstein files are concerned. This was in an interview last night with Fox News, right after the breaking story of Pam Bondi being fired comes out, and then Blanche, the now interim Attorney General, took over a U.S. Attorney General. So let's play a little bit of this audio so you can hear him say that there's nothing left to put out there. There is a lot of information left for us to digest, and only a few people really trying to work to digest it. But here we go.
Did. Now, the Epstein files, you'd agree, not handled well? No, and I don't, first of all, I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files. And so, look, the Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And what happened when the President signed the Transparency Act is the Department of Justice has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga. And the Attorney General Bondi and I appeared in front of Congress voluntarily a couple weeks ago to answer any questions they had. We have made every single congressman, senator available to come and see any document, redacted, unredacted, that they want. And so I think that to the extent that the Epstein files was a part of the past year of this Justice Department, it should not be a part of anything going forward.
It is interesting to hear him say that, because again, I don't know if that'll change when you actually have Lee Zeldin or whoever they think might take over this department, or take over as the acting U.S. Attorney General and not the interim one. But we'll see, because there definitely still seem to be some questions. But most of those questions, if you're mainstream media or Democrats, are just about how they didn't get Trump and why they didn't get Trump and what they need to do to finally catch Trump, which to me is insane. All right, we'll take a break. A lot coming up in a very little bit amount of time left. The Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas.
Spring deals are popping up early at Lowe's. Right now, get 4 bags of Stay Green 2 cubic foot mulch for just $10. Plus, save $20 on an Ego 56-volt string trimmer, now just $199. Spring starts better when you save early. Don't miss out. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18. Mulch offer excludes Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
A breast cancer diagnosis can turn your world upside down. But your Houston Methodist team assures you they'll use the latest cancer research and technologies, collaborating to treat and remove the tumor and reconstruct your breasts, restoring symmetry, sensation, and your sense of self. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. For you, Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Everyone knows the BBB is the Better Business Bureau, but depending on what you need, it's the Better Plumber Bureau, the Better Auto Mechanic Bureau, the Better Accountant Bureau. That's because the BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. So think of the BBB as the better check that business out first so you don't get ripped off bureau. Be smart. Always look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Mattress back here in the Mac Z-Cliner. I'm recovering from surgery thanks in large part to this miracle chair, the Mac Z-Cliner. You can sit in it, you can recline in it, you can watch TV in it, you can eat in it, you can sleep in it. It goes to zero gravity position. The Mac Z-Cliner helped me recover. It also has heat and massage, a place to charge your cell phone. Come out to Gallery Furniture, buy a Mac Z-Cliner before your surgery. Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, or after your surgery, Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, and you'll sit and sleep great tonight.
I mean, the expectation was, what, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big
Huge way
in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. Thrilled to be with you. A bunch of stuff to talk about. Hearing from one of the two veteran guests we had planned for Veteran Voices. He is at a funeral service for another veteran, and he will not be available in the next 10 minutes or so. Which is absolutely understandable, of course. And honestly, I should say this, too, even though this half hour is intent to be veteran voices, meaning you hear from different veterans in our community or anywhere, honestly, and anyone that wants to talk about veteran issues, if they're tied to a veteran organization, would also be welcome to be on the show. But even though that's normally the plan, it is a holiday. Today's Good Friday. Easter Sunday is coming up, so maybe the assumption should have been that it'd be a tough week to get people. Actually, there was a little while there where both the Amigos and I thought we weren't going to do live shows. And then the Amigos decided they were going to do live, and I can't not do a live show. If the Amigos are live, I'm going to be live. That's my and I actually probably want to be live all the time. I love being on the radio. But anyway, I love part of the CNN clip of the job numbers and how ridiculously good they are, because you can hear both voices of the two people on television, both struggling with the idea that this is obviously a good thing. And the only reason why is because they don't want it to be true because Trump is in office. Just think about that for a second, because you hear that a lot, but I really want you to fully digest what that means. There are a bunch of people in our society, whether they're the talking heads in media or a lot of crazy democratic human beings that exist in our society, not all Democrats, but a lot of them out there that want this. They want things to go bad in our society. They actually want you and I to suffer. They want terrorists to win conflicts against the United States. They want these things because they think it reflects poorly on Trump, and they hate Trump that much. No matter how much I don't like politicians, especially ones like Joe Biden, I didn't want gas prices to be as terrible as they were. That's not a desire I had, because that made life harder for everybody here, all of us. No matter how much money you had, it wasn't fun to pay $5 a gallon at the pump. So it's just sort of surreal to think that people could want pain in our country or bad things abroad so badly because they hate a person so much. But listen to both of these voices, because you can hear that moment, the higher inflection, the I wish this wasn't true, but it is true, even though it's good for society.
I mean, the expectation was, what, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow, is all she says.
The job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news. Really,
I love where he goes, and that is good news, because they can't handle the fact that things are actually going well in some places. I was playing you audio the other day of the amount of manufacturers who are doing good things in our society, but the job number is way, way up. Let's also play this. President Trump on Truth Social saying how very, very happy he was. A blessed Good Friday to all, and some really great numbers coming out.
If we get that oil price back down to $60, we are going to see the biggest economic boom we ever saw in this country. It so much depends on bringing the oil price down, getting the straits open. Trump said he's going to get this done in the next few weeks. I'm here to tell you, if that happens, the economy, U.S. economy, is primed for a big boom.
By the way, that's a Fox News clip where they're just talking about the things that we need to make things even better, but it actually summarizes the same clip on social media, what President Trump said on Truth Social. And this is what he said. A very happy and blessed Good Friday to all, especially to the 186,000 Americans who gained private sector jobs in this month of March, in the month of March alone. My economic policies have created an enormously powerful engine of economic growth, and nothing can slow it down. Factory construction jobs are soaring as a result of the rapid onshoring and surging investment that tariffs have generated, all while the trade deficit has shrunk by 52% in a year. President Donald J. Trump. He did also issue more tariffs against pharmaceutical manufacturers, and I think that's a great thing. I think it's crazy that people don't realize the effectiveness that tariffs have had at creating better deals for us here in this country. And, I think they do realize it. I should say that differently. I do believe that a lot of people who can look at this objectively can see the benefit that the threat of tariffs or the imposing of tariffs have had on all the different deals that have come in since. And this is, I think, the belief in what will happen with a lot of drugs that are just ridiculously overpriced here in America, but not necessarily overpriced everywhere else in the world. This is leverage. We create leverage, we get something good from it, and eventually things work out pretty well for us. They just don't want to acknowledge that part. They don't want to have the conversation that ends with, all right, this went better than I thought it would, or better than I wanted it to go. To be honest, as I said a second ago, and this seems to be incredibly true for some reason, there's a certain amount of people, I don't know exactly how many, in our society who are cheering against us. They probably cheer against us all the time, but cheering against us uniquely right now, simply because President Trump is the person in office. And just think about how horrible that is. No matter who is in office, I'll say it one more time before I transition to one more clip, and we're already almost out of time. But no matter who's in office, I don't actually want our society to degrade and go terribly. That's why I choose to vote in elections for people that I think won't do that. But when it does happen, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not happy about it. I complain about it. It's not a good thing. I'm not looking for more because I'm not trying to win an argument against other Americans. To be honest, that's what I kind of think is happening sometimes. There's people that are so ego-driven that all they want is to be right about whatever the thing is they thought they were arguing with someone else about. And so in this case, they want to be right that Trump's a bad president, and so they're hoping for the worst across the board. And when it doesn't happen, they're mad about it, which is insane. All right, let's play this audio. This was crazy to me. TMZ Sports saw John Cena, the WWE talent guy. I want to say wrestler, but I know that it's fake. And I'm not a huge WWE fan, even if you are. But they asked him a weird question. Cena gave a weird answer. And then I have a much better, I think, answer to this whole ridiculous thing. But here we go.
Do you think WWE is ready for a transgender wrestler?
I'm a storyteller, my friend, and that's what we do in WWE. And it doesn't. It's not segregated to sex, race, creed, religion, any of that. So as long as the story is good, it belongs in WWE.
That's wonderful. I appreciate it.
It's not wonderful, and I'll tell you why. And I'll use it within the context of the thing that Cena said. It would not be a good story. If a biological woman were cast in a WWE thing in which she wrestled John Cena and beat the crap out of him, it would be the least believable thing that's ever happened within the WWE, and that's saying something because they already do a lot of fake fighting. But that would be ridiculously insane. It wouldn't make any sense. There is no biologically born woman who should be able to beat the crap out of John Cena. So just watching that occur in any facet or form would be the exact opposite of a good story. And so I love the fact that that was his diplomatic, whatever, woke answer to a question, because it just makes literally no sense if you were watching it play out in real life. A biological dude who thinks he's a girl fighting in the WWE, that's fine, I guess. It's still a dude, and so he'll probably do better. I'm not saying that I want to see that storyline. I don't at all. But from a believability standpoint, there might be a little bit more there. It still would be a weird story to tell with the WWE, and it would be a very stupid thing to go down a rabbit hole of because it would just be for woke reasons. Like, none of that's necessary, obviously, in the world of the WWE in general. And I'll say one more thing because we'll play out all the scenarios. A biological dude that thinks he's a woman wrestling a woman in the WWE would be insanely odd to watch play out and also not a good story. So again, I don't understand the basic answer to this question. And I know people will say that this is transphobia or hatred of LGBTQ or something, and it's not. It's just simply the logical extension of the conversation they're having and thinking whether or not that would be a believable thing to watch on TV. And as I said before, the WWE is obviously fake. It's not really terribly believable, although my friends who love it a lot will yell at me for saying that. But this would be an even worse version of that sort of thing. This would be like, I don't think this could happen sort of stuff. So why even go down that road? Why even try to tell that story? But again, I just thought it was kind of interesting that that went viral and that the TMZ guy is praising Cena for the answer he gave because it's sort of also a non-answer, if I'm being honest with you. It's sort of avoiding the question because I think if you ask the follow-up, well, would it be a good story? Even John Cena might be able to say no. It's not necessarily something that we see coming to a television anywhere near you. And if it did, you know what? I'll say it this way. This is the last point I'm going to make. We're going to run out of time, so I guess this is going to be the last conversation on the show today. I was thinking a lot about the times when I decide not to pay attention to stuff or not to be a part of whatever the fight is. Like, for example, I watch baseball. I love baseball. Yankees won again today. Aaron Judge hit his 3rd home run of the season. The man is striking out a lot and not getting on base a lot, but he's already got 3 home runs, and we're 7 games into the year. So that's pretty good. I would like to see more of that. I know some people tell you to give up on stuff like sports because it's woke and it doesn't like you and they don't want you as a viewer anymore. And I've said this before and I'll say it again on this show. I don't do that because my life would be sadder if I didn't watch baseball. And there's no comparable replacement to MLB baseball that allows me to go away from that sport and watch something else. Now, in the world of something like Bud Light, it was really easy to pick up one of several different other comparable beers and drink that instead when their advertising went ridiculously woke and stupid. And so I do think that part of this conversation, any of the stuff, like if you love the WWE and you watch them do a transgender storyline, I wouldn't blame you for being done with that sport, and I wouldn't blame you for trying to watch things that aren't that fight if you love it so much that you want to be a part of it, just because I think that that's kind of the decision we all make in life. We all decide what is and isn't the line for us, and then how we avoid the things that maybe annoy us. But I just kept thinking about how stupid that would be, how many fans would be alienated by a move like that in the world of the WWE. So I don't think they're going to do it. I think it's just a dumb question that somebody asked on a street somewhere. But I do think there's a more valuable macro discussion about how you tell certain products, the owners of certain things in our society, when they've gone too far with you. How do you do it? How do you voice the "you better not do this again" sort of thing? And when do you not voice it? And I think the best thing you can possibly do is have a comparable product that you could watch instead. So I guess what I'm saying is that if people were really so mad about baseball being what it is, that maybe someone should start a new league and find a whole bunch of people who are willing to play that sport and play it as well as the professionals who play it now. Maybe like the Bulls player who was told that he's not allowed to be a Bulls player anymore because he seems to just be a pretty devout Catholic, a pretty devout Christian with certain religious views. Maybe enough of those people get together, create a league, and it's as good. And then, of course, I'd watch that one instead. But all right, that's the show. Veteran Voices has been rescheduled for next week. We had some issues with getting our guests on. We promise not to do that again as best we can because from 6:30 to 7 every single Friday, we intend to have a Veteran Voices segment. Craig Collins Show, KSEV KGBC, the voice of Texas.
You're listening to the voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV Tomball and AM 1540 KGBC.